Cars are actually kinda awesome. They allow for convenient, medium, and short trips, while also allowing for more far-out communities to be more connected to major cities. And they've also enabled suburbia and massive sprawl in the United States and even the world. Motor vehicles have also allowed emergency services to exist in the way we know them now. Cars have also massively helped create essential manufacturing jobs in the United States, Mexico, and many others, helping kickstart major economies like Japan's and Germany's. Cars have also just become a culture too, with many subvariants like racing, drifting, and takeover culture. And that's not even to mention how it's become a symbol of perceived freedom. It's indisputable cars are iconic to many city and rural people. With this, cars and other motor vehicles are almost objectively awesome. But there must be a catch. And there sure are. Cars have these benefits, but many stop being benefits after looking at them a little closer. For example, cars allow for convenient short distance travel, but so do these things called legs. You should have them if you look down. Okay, now, you might say, but what about the people who have trouble walking? Cars are so much better, right? Well, actually no. A whole bunch of people who can't walk a bit to, say, the local market also can't drive. Old people aren't known for being able to drive, or at least drive well, and these are the people who mostly can't walk too much. But you know something that does make life harder for people who can't walk too much? Cars. Having cities with high amounts of cars going relatively short distances means that there must be a lot of space to store them, right? And cars aren't particularly able to be stored in small areas. To have a lot of cars going short distances increases the area people walking have to walk, which in turn means that people who can't walk too much become less independent and have to get other people to drive them or to take transit, if that option is available. And for those who can drive while not being able to walk too much, start driving more, making the problem worse for those who can't drive, inconveniencing them more. And then the people who can just walk the longer distance start driving, as walking becomes more inconvenient compared to driving, and the problem snowballs, causing more and more traffic. But the other points are still valid, right? Well, while it is more convenient to drive medium distances like local crosstown commutes, it brings up even more problems along with the same ones for short distance travel that I brought up before. First of all, is it really more convenient? In a car-centric city, yeah. For example, going from working class LA to a factory or warehouse job in Vernon is about 30 minutes by car and about an hour by transit. Or if you want to risk your life, 40 minutes by bike. But what about an area where cars aren't the main way to do short to medium distance commutes? In New York, a similar distance commute is 40 minutes by car, but only about 30 minutes by public transit. That example should be enough for you to realize car commutes are only more convenient because of cars, not because cars are a better way to commute. All this and I still haven't gone to the economic or environmental impact of cars. Alright, this one should be one of the most obvious. Cars aren't environmentally friendly. No, not even electric cars. Tar particulates are some of the biggest polluters, and electric cars sure as damn hell have them, because of batteries' weight causing even more of this type of pollution. And then you have to deal with noise pollution. Yeah, electric cars are technically quieter running, but the rubber wheels, again, still produce the same amount of noise. For example, take this nice park. No cars, just people and a train. Now here is this plaza next to an artery with a whole bunch of cars. Hear the difference! Also, just a bit of a tangent, but cars are really loud, and the places where you have to be next to cars are just horrible. Like here on the sea line, it can get up to 90 decibels, enough to cause permanent ear damage according to a UCLA study. Now imagine waiting here for the next 10 minutes because you missed the last train. Now economical. Car infrastructure is expensive, but also, and majorly, in maintenance. Car infrastructure is simply expensive to keep running smoothly. You might hear say, well, what about transit? That's expensive. Yeah, its capital costs are expensive, but what about its running costs? The total costs in transit compared per mile to road infrastructure is lower. It costs per mile a median of about $171,000 to operate the LA Metro. But what about roads and all their related costs? About $200,000 median per mile according to the Reason Foundation. Here's my reasoning to get the numbers if you're interested. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot about the individual cost per person of cars, which is a whole other can of worms. That's to say, for the sake of not dragging out this video too much, that $936 a year, worst case scenario, for a full transit fare that covers all of Los Angeles and its surroundings, is cheaper than $3,300 a year for gas and maintenance on average in the United States. And that's not even accounting for insurance and other problems that may arise, like car crashes and their costs, or more importantly, the cost of buying them. Cars, or more accurately, motor vehicles, have their benefits. But for personal benefit, outside of recreation and other fringe cases, don't really have a place in our cities, and just cause more problems while creating a false sense of convenience that keeps them in our cities, continuing to kill and lowering the quality of life of city people. When Caltrans was studying expanding and widening the 710 freeway along the Los Angeles River, they found that the area along the freeway had some of the highest rates of asthma in the city. Further studies have proved that the areas with the most freeways also have the most asthma. Who would have guessed? Just look at this graph. As someone who has asthma and has to deal with its complications, it's kinda depressing knowing that you have a high chance that if you had just not been raised near a freeway or major arterial, you might have been able to, say, play sports at a more competitive level. So anyways, now onto the outro. Consider doing the regular YouTube things and joining my Patreon along with Alexis Geddes, DJ Pete Steak, Ali S, Geezer Runback, Matt Lashbrook, and Chris. Alright, now here's some comments on the 710 widening while you can see some of the videos. Bye.
Pronounce that way. I work with the Long Beach Alliance for Children with Asthma, and we're very concerned about the 5C as an alternative proposal. It's a project that does not meet the needs of our community. While zero emissions was part of the proposal made in the earlier meeting, it is not the project that we are looking for. What we want is a mandatory zero emissions corridor so that we can reduce and totally eliminate air pollution and eliminate that cost and that burden to our families and in particular our children. Asthma in the Los Angeles area and in particular in Long Beach, where the asthma rate is even higher, we can't afford to continue to pollute in our communities. So I appeal to you to reject 5C and also to reject the motion from earlier this morning.